Happy to welcome the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records and one of the most prominent boxing managers in the industry. You know who I'm talking to here, Jay Prince, joining me here on the program. How are you, sir?
Hey, man, I'm good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to be talking to you. We got a lot to talk about, but first, I wanted to start with your involvement in boxing. How did you initially get involved in the boxing industry for people who might not know?
Well, I initially got involved with boxing, chasing Mike Tyson. You know, Mike Tyson was my target. I flew out and had a meeting with Tyson out here in Vegas. And while I was in the gym with Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather came in the gym. And of course, I was watching Mike spar. And I never had opportunity to see Mike other than on the ring or on TV. And in the midst of watching him spar, Floyd came to me like on 2 or 3 occasions, like, yo, Jay, I know your music, man, woo, woo, woo. Came to me again, yo, Jay, I'm going to give you a number. If you want to do something later on, call me, I'll come pick you up. So I didn't know Floyd was a champion. Actually, before I came to Las Vegas, I actually prayed to the Creator, asking him to bless me with a champion. So after sparring, I went to Mike Tyson's house and we had a meeting. And after the meeting, I felt like I was on Mike Tyson's team, moving forward because that's what we agreed to do. And the next day I woke up, I couldn't reach Tyson. His phone was off. And I had the card in my hand that Floyd gave me. And I asked my friend, I said, who is this guy right here, man? He said, this is Floyd Mayweather, the 130-pound champion. So immediately a red light went off in my head. I'm like, man, I prayed for a champion.
Yeah, it all worked out. That's crazy how that all sort of came together. I imagine you've been a boxing fan probably your whole life. When did boxing come on your radar?
Well, boxing was always my first love. I enjoyed boxing ever since I was a kid. I used to try and find a boxing gym in my community, and there wasn't any boxing gyms. So one of the things that I vowed to do, I said, if I ever make some money when I get grown, I'm going to build a boxing gym in my community. And I was able to accomplish that. And that's something I'm really proud of. Now the kids in the future has access to a boxing gym.
That's awesome. And to be able to give back like that, I'm sure as a fan yourself growing up, to be able to give that back that must be very rewarding to do. I'm sure you look back on that now.
Oh yeah, man, it's no feeling like it. Every time I go, it's like confirmation when you see all of those kids, the improvement. Some of them are like problem kids and they get into boxing and their whole life change with discipline. So it's a beautiful sport, man. I love it.
Let's talk about some boxers. Andre Ward, I wanted to start here. One of the best ever to do it. I don't think that he gets enough respect from the community in general. I know obviously with his commentating, he's done a great job, but do you consider him an elite fighter in that category? Because I know some people don't, just because of the way he fought.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't. I can't even imagine why someone wouldn't, see the eliteness where Andre Ward is concerned. I mean, he was so skillful. Inside and outside. I mean, I never saw anything like it.
Yeah. No, boxing fans, very polarizing. I know they're always looking for something to complain about. Let's talk about one of the guys that you work with, Shakur Stevenson. What is next for him for people who might be wondering?
We have a fight December the 12th here in Las Vegas. We're looking forward to ending the year with a bang, and then we'll be fighting for a world title the first quarter of next year.
Fantastic. And I imagine the plan is to kind of get him a little bit more notoriety in the mainstream, because we know the talent's there. It's a matter of getting him on the radar of, some of those, some of the bigger outlets. Oh
yeah, most definitely. We got work to do, and we're going to be really creative on how we do it.
And I think safe to say he's ready for some of those big fights, right? I mean, we've seen the talent there.
Real special talent, you know what I mean? Just like Andre Ward and many of them that went before him, really special. And I think everything in his weight division, he will destroy.
And another guy you manage, F.A. Ajagba, do you still consider him a prospect, or do you think he's at that point now where he's like a title contender?
Yeah, I definitely a combination of both. I think with F.A. And his new trainer, Coach K, I think they have work to do to prepare him for greatness, but he have all the attributes to be there. So I'm looking forward to FA becoming heavyweight champion of the world.
Fantastic. Any update on him and when we might see him back in the ring?
I think the beginning of next year.
Mm-hmm. And kind of on that note, has it been challenging with COVID? I know they're still putting on events, but obviously it's hindered things without having the live audience there. Have you faced a lot of challenges in booking fights?
Oh man, so challenging, man. As you know, when it first happened, we had to cancel Shakur fight in New York, and I'm thankful now that we're able to fight in the bubble out here in Las Vegas. But it's like every fight we're witnessing, fights get canceled because of the COVID thing. Now I heard like 1 out of every 10 people in the U.S. has it. So we have to get that thing under control, man.
Yeah, I know today I was reading something about a vaccine. We'll see what comes to fruition, but we're obviously keeping things positive, and good to see there are still boxing events going on, which is great. I talked about some of the guys you manage. How is it working with Bob Arum and Top Rank? Because I know there can be some challenges there as well.
Yeah, no, I love Bob. I've learned a lot from Bob. Me and Bob been knowing one another since the Mayweather days. You know what I mean? We had a bumpy beginning, but I consider Bob a friend and family to me now.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. Deontay Wilder, I got to bring this up. Obviously, the conspiracy theory with Tyson Fury. What did you make of that when you heard it? Because I know obviously there's been a lot of mixed reviews on that.
Yeah, I don't quite know what he talking about. I mean, but one thing about it, he have an opportunity to redeem himself. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, that was going to be my question. Are you looking forward to the trilogy if it does end up happening?
Yeah, I would love to see it again. I think it would be a exciting, challenging fight. All of this other, is smoke and mirrors. But I'd like to see him get in that ring and attempt and try to redeem himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you heard that about the whole, controversy and everything that he was bringing up, do you think he's in a good headspace right now? I know it's tough to tell from the outside, but what are you hearing in terms of him and what's next for him?
Well, I hadn't heard much about him. It's about showing and proving with me. So once again, I would like to see the brother get in that ring and do what he do. He definitely has some dynamite in his paws. So get in there and you don't need to do no lot of talking. Get in there and do what you do.
I know you're there for Joshua and Reese, which was a great fight, and now we're going to be having Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. What's your prediction for that fight? Because that's an interesting matchup that's been a long time in the making.
I think that would be a good fight, a good, interesting fight. If I had to choose one over the other, I would go with Tyson Fury. The guy is he's kind of special with his boxing ability.
And an inspiration with everything he's overcome, and he's still competing at a high level at his age. I think it's something that's really, I'm sure you've noticed this, but it's gone beyond boxing where you're seeing him become that sort of superstar in the sport. Yeah, no, he's a special guy. You know what I mean? From the way he talk until the way he fight. You know what I mean? He's a special guy. Back to Joshua, what do you think of him as a fighter? How he carries himself and everything. I'm sure you've noticed sort of, his rise in the boxing world as well. Yeah, no, I was watching Joshua ever since the amateurs. I think he's a special talent as well. I just can't wait to, for some of my fighters to challenge these guys. Definitely Jared Anderson, my up-and-coming heavyweight. And also, Tony, the gold medalist out there in Paris, Tony Yoga. I can't wait to see these guys compete with them. No, absolutely. I agree with that. Also, we have Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. We don't know exactly what type of match it's going to be, but we see, the photos of Mike Tyson. I'm sure you've caught them. He's in phenomenal shape for his age. It's kind of inspiring to watch that. What are your overall thoughts on this match, and what can we expect, do you think? Man, I can't wait to see it. I attempted to make that fight years ago, and it didn't take place. So I'm happy that it is taking place now. Better late than never. I can't wait to pop up my loyalty drink and my popcorn and watch that fight. Yeah, I think everyone's excited just with the names that are involved. You talked about trying to make it happen a couple of years ago. When was that, and what made it not happen?
Oh, I don't remember the years, but the money wasn't there, and Roy decided to take the fight with Tarver.
Oh, right. Okay, I kind of know the timeline you're talking about there. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Well, who do you think wins? Because it's kind of a weird fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think makes it so interesting is we don't really know what we're going to be getting coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, I don't really know who's gonna win this one. I just that's what makes it so exciting. You know what I mean? I don't know what may take place. I don't know what to look for, but I know both of those guys personally, and I know they will fight.
On that note, you mentioned knowing them personally. Any good Mike Tyson stories you can share with us here? Because he's an incredible guy. I have to ask, obviously, because he's one of the best ever.
Well, I would say this. Mike Tyson is way more intelligent than people give him credit for. You know what I mean? I remember Mike told me a story. After he and I wasn't able to get together, he gave me a story. Let me see how it quite went. He's like, there was a story about, I think it was Rockefeller. He said this guy came to Rockefeller and asked him for a loan. And Rockefeller told him he wasn't able to make him a loan, but if he would just walk with him across the street, his life may change forever. And the guy walked with Rockefeller across the street, and all kinds of doors opened for him to get loans in other areas. And that's what happened with me where boxing was concerned. You know what I mean? I hung with Mike, and of course, me and Floyd done a deal within a week of meeting one another.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, well, there you go. Roy Jones Jr., I know you got some stories with him as well. And anything interesting that stands out? Because he's another interesting guy, I think, in the world of boxing.
Yeah, he is. Me and Roy, we have so many things that, we love. You know what I mean? Roy, like my artist Scarface was his favorite artist. And Roy and I have a lot of similarity. He loved to fish and hunt. I love to fish and hunt. I had roosters. I used to fight them. He had
really?
roosters.
Okay.
Oh yeah, a lot of similarities, man. So he and I just kicked it right off when we met.
Does he wear the whole getup and everything with like the vest and stuff when you guys go hunting? Like, what type of hunting do you do?
Well, a lot of deer hunting.
Okay.
We actually went hunting in Fort Lauderdale, and he killed a bison buffalo, and I killed a water buffalo on the Indian reservation.
That's cool. When did your interest in, like, how long have you been hunting? How long have you been into that?
Oh man, all my life since I was like 8 years old.
Really? I wouldn't have paid. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
7, 8 years old.
Very cool. Have you ever, I got to ask this, I'm a Canadian. Have you ever been up to Canada to hunt? Because we got a lot of good hunting up here.
No, I haven't, but I heard about it, and I'm looking forward to it. Drake is from up that way.
He certainly is, and from Toronto, from the Six, as they call it, right? So there you go. Yeah. That's excellent.
Take me hunting up there.
For sure. Put in a good word or something. We'll see what happens. I got to talk about Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. Obviously, Errol's accident, that's sort of been one of the talking points heading in. Do you think that'll sort of mess with them psychologically in the fight? You never know with certain fighters when they have a situation like that.
I don't think so. I know Errol personally, and he coming to fight. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. So, and Danny coming to fight too. But I don't think that's the case. I think if he couldn't defend himself or contend at a certain age, at a certain level, I don't think he would get in the ring. So, I think he'll be there.
Yeah. Do you think the media is kind of playing that up a little bit too much about the whole, situation leading into the fight?
Well, I mean, it's a concern. It's something to think about. It's something to have a conversation about. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I'm sure Errol is going to show that, he's ready for the challenge.
Absolutely. Can't wait for that one. I got to, as we're closing up this interview here, I have to ask, what is the latest with you and Floyd Jr.? Because have you guys mended fences at this point?
Oh, yeah. Me and Floyd, we've been okay for years. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, it never was about so much as he and I are having an issue, more so than different people that was around him. So, no, we're good.
What did you think of him and McGregor? Because I know people are still talking about that fight, and how crazy was that a fighter in McGregor who had no boxing experience stepped in there with one of the best of all time, and the promotion for that was insane.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was historic. I mean, I look forward to seeing another one of those. I was hoping that the other guy, I forgot his name, but the guy that wrestled bears.
Oh, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, I was hoping him and Floyd would have a fight. I thought that would be interesting.
It might. I'll tell you something. At the time of recording this, Khabib retired after his last fight. I don't know if you're aware, but he's still in the USADA testing pool, so that means he's not officially out of the game yet. So we'll see. Money talks, right? So we'll see what happens.
That's right. That's true.
Great to hear. Well, Jay Prince, I want to thank you so much for taking the time here, especially on a nice sunny day like today. I really appreciate it. Before we go, though, I know you got a new wine product coming out. Any information on that and anything else you want to plug here? The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, yeah. I definitely have a new Loyalty collection, which consists of Cabernet, Merlot wine, also champagne, and a rosé. And what better way of celebrating your Thanksgiving and any success than with loyalty. We know nobody can have success without loyalty being involved. So a toast to loyalty.